Hold down to take a small step down and hook dash when you are on the stairs. Hold angle down left as you exit the stairs to minimize downward movement. Transition to left when you exit the stairs and move left until you clear the border of the entrance. Move angle up left until you are aligned with the open pathway above. Move up and transition to up left when you clear the last skull rock. Move left to transition the screen when you are above the mountain shadow. This position will avoid nudging the slope on the next screen. Dash left immediately and cancel your dash with a down input at the end of the slope. Walk down below the corner of the next slope, then start a dash and turn left. Dash through the second Lionel and cancel your dash up when you are in front of the bridge. This movement will allow you to move past the Lionel while he is stunned. Move up and start a dash when you are aligned with the bridge, then turn left. Cancel your dash at the wall, move up past the slope corner, and then start a dash and turn left. Hold left and walk past the first slope corner, then start a dash and turn down. Cancel your dash left when you are aligned with the bottom of Ganon's tower. Dash left until you are just past the first head and cancel with an angle down left input. This movement ensures that you are at least 1 pixel away from the tower and Link's sword is not out when the cutscene starts, which combined reduce lag by over half a second. Hold up out of the cutscene and start a sword climb when you are on the stairs by slashing your sword and then hook dashing. Keep your sword held out and double pump all the way into the dungeon. This sword climb can save about 20 frames over just double pumping, assuming you hit the sword climb first try at the bottom of the stairs and double pump well with your sword held out. These strats practically tie if you don't double pump with sword out. Hold up out of the door and dash off the ledge. Hold up as you land to stay aligned with the grid, then start a dash and turn left. If you hold left as you're landing to dash, you will likely nudge the door on the way out. Cancel your dash with an up input when you are aligned with the door and dash out of the room. A good visual cue is when Link is exactly in between the 2 floor tiles at the corner of the wall. Hold left to cancel stair lag, then pump down and enter the door cleanly. Optionally, you can collect the torch key and skip both the helmet key and chest key later on at a cost of about 1 second. This key is the easiest of the 3 options. Hold left out of the door, then turn down and hookshot to the key pot. Pick up the pot and begin moving angle up left as you throw it, then quickly turn down and hookshot the key. Move angle up left until you are next to the hammer peg and menu to the hammer. Hold left out of the menu and hammer the first peg. Follow the conveyor around to the top left side, optionally pumping down as you move left. Hold angle down right as you turn the corner to avoid any extra left movement. When Link is below the left moving conveyor, turn right and hammer the peg. Buffer an angle upright input to move to the center block and then hold right to push it. Wait until the block has moved at least halfway to the right to activate the switch, then move left onto the conveyors. When you are in between the conveyors, begin moving angle down left and walk under the block. Turn up when you are past the block, then align yourself with the door and enter cleanly. Hold left out of the door until you are even with the right side of the block. Move angle down left to position yourself just to the right of the jagged edges of the pit. The X coordinate is what is really important here. You want to be far enough left to hookshot the block while nudging as little as possible to save movement. Menu to hookshot. Hold down out of the menu to face down, then press Y to hook to the block below. Hold angle down right briefly until you are at least 1 pixel to the right of the block, and hookshot to the next block. If your movement is clean, you will get the spike skip, saving about 20 frames. If you choose not to go for spike skip, hold left out of the door, then move down left and pause buffer to hookshot when Link's shield is over the edge of the pit. Face down and hookshot the block below, then hold angle down right until you are aligned with the next block and hookshot to it. When you get to the last block, move left until Link is above the divider below, press down and hookshot to it. Slash the crystal switch immediately, then move left until you are past the divider and menu to boomerang. Out of the menu, tap right and use the boomerang, then buffer a down left input and align yourself with the door. Move down to avoid bonking the blue pegs and dash out of the room. Optionally, you can walk down below the pegs on the right side and then angle into the door at a cost of just a few frames. Hold angle down left out of the door and move left to the orange pegs. Turn down and use the boomerang when you are just past the divider below, then menu to the hookshot. Hold right out of the menu and hook to the top pot, and then hold angle down right until you are far enough right to hook to the bottom pot. Hold angle down right to slide along the pot and pick it up from the left side. Move angle down right as you throw the pot, take a step toward the right wall, then turn up and snap into the door. You can throw the pot up and turn down to hookshot the key if you prefer. Because this is an east-west facing key door, you must move out of it fully to prevent dragging on the door. Hold right until you are clear of the doorway, then move angle upright until you are high enough to pass above the crystal switch. Walk past the switch and move angle down right to align yourself with the blue peg. Step just to the right of the peg, then turn around and hookshot the crystal switch to get the eye 5 frames from the blue peg activating. Walk into the warp and quickly face down. Facing down here will make the next screen a bit easier. Hold angle down left and hookshot the block. Continue holding down left to slide around the block and move down to the bottom wall. Turn left and walk under the second block to the left, then face right and hookshot the wall to avoid damage from the fire snake, or you can optionally just bonk over it. At this point, you want to read the RNG of the fire snake directly above you. If it has a slow movement pattern and takes a long time to turn around, you will be able to attempt the optimal strategy. Turn left and dash to the last opening, then cancel your dash up and hookshot the block above. Push the block up and begin holding angle up left when it moves to slide around the left side. If your movement was clean, the fire snake will bounce off of the block, allowing you to safely skip the first cycle. Turn left and hookshot to the chest, and then hold angle down left to slide around it and open it from the right side. Walk down to exit the room. This strategy saves about a full second over slower RNGs. If the fire snake gave you fast RNG, move into the first opening and walk left behind it. Walk into the opening on the right side of the switch block, then push it to the left and hookshot through it to the next block as it moves. At this point, you will need to delay slightly to avoid taking damage from the fire snake above, then continue the room as before. The third strategy is a hybrid of the other two and can be done if you do not get the optimal RNG. Start out by dashing in the bottom lane, then walk around to the left side of the switch block and push it right. Make sure to delay long enough to avoid the head of the fire snake above. Hold angle down right into the warp tile. The next two rooms can be done in two different ways in approximately the same number of frames. The first route is to hookshot to the pot or just walk down to the nearest warp, then hold angle down left on the next screen until you are aligned with the divider below and walk under the two warp tiles. The other route is to move angle down right and hookshot the wall below, then hold angle up left into the left side warp. At this point, move down and enter the bottom left warp. Hold angle down right to move down until you are all the way against the bottom wall, then turn right and dash. Cancel your dash with an up input as close as possible to the wall and hookshot the right edge of the top divider. Hold angle up right to slide along the divider, then move up until Link's feet are even with the bottom of the divider. You can be a few pixels higher without entering the warp. This is a good place to menu buffer to bombs if you haven't yet. If you notice you're too low for the bonk, you can press up and A to move up one frame and start your dash. Start a dash and turn left to bonk over the warp, then hold down and snap into the door. Move right out of the door, then turn down and dash turn to the right when you are just below the rail. Cancel your dash with an up input when you are aligned with the right rail and dash up. Cancel your dash with a right input when you clear the corner. Walk right until you are past the pit above, then start a dash and turn up. Cancel your dash right when you are aligned with the bottom pot. Dashing up from the left side is riskier, but it gives you the opportunity to save a few frames by hooking to the pot. Pick up the bottom pot and throw it as you move right. Take a step up to align with the top pot, then start a dash and turn left to bonk into it. Hold up as you land and pump to the right until you reach the top wall. Continue to move angle up right, and if you haven't already, menu to bombs as you snap into the door. Hold angle up right out of the door and plant the bomb as soon as possible. Continue holding angle up right and grab the bomb as you move through it. Turn right at the top corner of the block and throw the bomb down when you are aligned with the skull pot. Delay picking up the pot until the bomb has nearly landed. If you pick up the pot too early, the bomb will go through the wall. Hold down as you throw the pot, then turn right when you are aligned with the chest and stand next to it. Menu to arrows. If you need the 10 arrow chest, delay planting the bomb until you are standing directly in front of the Ganon statue. Grab the bomb as you are moving right and throw it when you are aligned with the skull pot. Delay picking up the pot slightly, then walk down until you are aligned with the bottom of the chest. Move right to the chest and open it from the left side. The safer method is to plant the bomb just before you are aligned with the skull pot and walk all the way down to the bottom wall before moving right, which costs an additional half of a second. If you are out of bombs, you can grab the one under the pot to the left. If you collect this bomb, you will need to move left after picking up the right pot and let the anti-fairy out before dropping into the hole. If you forget to collect the arrow pot in Turtle Rock and still need 5 arrows, you can elect to plant and throw the bomb as normal, then grab the 5 arrow pot at the top and dash down into the hole. For the 3-2-1 Ice Armos strategy, stand directly between the tiles and move up until Link is aligned with the dark blue line above. Time your first arrow so that it fires right when the Armos Knights start moving into position and fire a total of 3 arrows up. Tap left and fire 2 more arrows before turning up. Fire one arrow up immediately, then begin walking up. But don't fire another arrow yet. This completes the 3-2-1 opener. If you continue to fire arrows up, the Armos Knights will not begin the rotation until they are back in the starting position. After a slight delay, fire 2 more arrows up as you're moving up, then immediately hold left. This delay will give them time to move back into position and begin rotating. It is best to time your Y presses up to this point in the fight, then it is fine to mash Y for the remaining Armos Knights. Get close to the first Armos and begin spamming arrows as you position yourself just left of the door. You will be able to fire a bit faster as you get close to each Armos. After the last arrow is fired, align yourself with the door, then start a dash and turn up. Hold up and dash. Optionally, you can walk, dashing only saves a few frames here, then menu to the mirror. Wiggle up the stairs and open the big key chest from the left side. Cancel the text box with L and R, then if you need arrows, which means you have less than 10, hold angle up left to slide past the big key chest. You can choose to rely on mimic drops if you have at least 8. Begin holding up when you are aligned with the left side of the chest. This is another good spot for the menu buffer if you haven't used it yet. It is possible to open the arrow chest from all the way right against the big key chest. Mash Y to mirror back to the start of the dungeon. Hold up and dash off of the ledge, then dash up the stairs and enter the door. This room is a good opportunity to make sure you have menu to arrows so you don't accidentally mirror in Mimics 1. Hold left out of the door and sword beam the crystal switch or arrow it if you do not have beams. Move left until you are just about onto the spikes, then start a dash and turn down, or you can optionally walk down. Cancel your dash left when you are under the second set of blue pegs and step onto the spikes. Dash left immediately after taking damage and continue holding left as you dash to manipulate the mimic out of your way. If you wait too long, your dash will end sooner, causing you to take an additional heart of damage. Continue holding left when your dash ends and move around the orange pegs to the top block. Push the block and menu to arrows if you have not done so yet. Walk down to the bottom block, then hold angle down right until you reach the bottom wall and snap into the door. Walk down until you are close to the divider below, then hold right and quickly slash 3 times. Snap down along the right side of the divider, then slash again and hold your sword out as you walk down far enough to push left against the divider. With your sword held out, tap left to make the mimic face right and fire an arrow. Continue holding B, hold left and fire another arrow when the first mimic passes the right edge of the divider. Continue holding left and B as the second arrow fires and quickly fire 2 more arrows when the left mimic is in the middle of the gap between the 2 bottom dividers. Let go of B when the last arrow is fired, and if you timed it correctly, you will not fully charge the sword. Move down just below the divider to the left, then start a dash and turn right. Here is the optimal strat again at half speed. For the Joe Mimics, this strategy is much easier to execute and only loses about 10 frames optimally. Move down below the top divider and walk right all the way to the wall. Face down and move until Link is standing on the row of smaller tiles, then slash your sword and move down until Link's feet are just above the doorway to the right. Move left about 1.5 tiles, then let go of B and fire 2 arrows. After the first arrow, let go of all inputs, then re-slash after the second arrow hits, and hold your sword out. Slashing too early will result in hitting the mimic before it dies. Buffer a left input and move left almost all the way to the divider, then let go of all inputs and fire 2 more arrows. If you time this correctly, you will not fully charge your sword. Take a small step down and dash right to exit the room. For Mira Mimics, the optimal strategy for this room involves using a very precise movement to clip the enemy out of bounds and requires maintaining beams throughout the west side of the tower so that you can save the menu buffer to arrows. This strategy can be very tough to perform. Slash and then hold your sword up to move the bottom mimic into position, then use your menu to arrows to move 1 frame to the right. Out of the menu, move down about 1.5 tiles and hold angle down right until you clear the divider to clip the mimic out of bounds. Take a small step down and hold left against the wall as you slash your sword, then begin firing 2 arrows as the mimic crosses the gap between the bottom dividers. This timing will allow you to drop your sword before before it fully charges. For the optimal Mimics 2 strategy, hold B as you move right and align Link with the second row of floor tiles, then transition to angle down right briefly to make the Mimics face up. Hold down as you fire 2 arrows, then let go of all inputs. Take a small step up and fire an arrow, then hold angle upright to move the Mimic into it and quickly fire another one. Continue holding angle upright and snap into the door. For Blunt Bunny's Mimic 2 strategy, hold right out of the door and slash once. Continue to hold right and slash again, then transition to angle down right until the bottom Mimic is far enough left to clear the skull pot. Hold down and B, move down a half a tile, and drop your sword before quickly firing 2 arrows. Slash your sword and buffer an up input, then move up until Link's feet are just past the block and fire 2 more arrows. Hold angle upright and snap into the door. For the easiest Mimic 2 strategy, take a small step right, then face down and slash. Buffer a right input with your sword held out and move right until Link's right ear is just past the brown block, then quickly fire 2 arrows. Turn up and fire an arrow, then hold up and left to avoid the fireball attack and move the Mimic into the arrow. After the first arrow hits, quickly fire another one and hold angle upright to move toward the door. Dash up directly from the doorway without moving to get a key dash. Hold up out of the door and walk down the stairs. Move right out of the stairs until you are past the crystal switch, then start a dash and turn up. Cancel your dash with a left input when you are above the crystal switch and slash it. Take a step to the left, then start a dash and turn up. Cancel your dash with angle up left to slide along the middle pot. It is optional to walk up to the pot, but dashing helps you to get up to the pot faster and avoid some bad Igor movement. Grab the middle pot and move up as you throw it. Move left above the pots, then start a dash after you clear the left side and turn down. You may need to avoid the red Igor if he moves left under the pots, because you cannot damage him with your sword. If your movement was clean, you will skip the spike cycle on the dash down. Cancel your dash with a right input when you are aligned with the stairs and snap into them. Move right out of the stairs, start a dash when you get past the rail and turn up. Cancel your dash with a right input when you are aligned with the door. This is an alternate strat that you can use to make the same spike cycle as before. Hold angle up left out of the stairs and dash up when you are past the crystal switch on the left side. Move angle up right when you are close to the top crystal switch and slash the switch when you are on the right side of it. Hold up and dash immediately, then continue the room as before. Both strategies will give you the same room time. For the Cannonball Z room, the timing of the cannonballs depends on what frame you enter the room, and can be generally grouped into 3 patterns: early, mid, and late. It is possible to dash completely through the cannonballs by reading the pattern you get. In all cases, you want to walk angle upright to the rail, then move straight right. Read if the first cannonball fired early, middle, or late, then start a dash when you are the appropriate distance away from the cannonball. If done correctly, you will dash through without getting hit. However, there is always a chance you can get bad cannonball RNG in the second half. For early, no nudge up just past the cannonball. For mid, nudge up before the dash. And for late, no nudge, which is the same as the early cannonball. During this dash, it's possible to recognize when you're going to get hit and adjust. Sometimes it's possible to just re-dash. Cancel this dash when you are aligned with the door above and dash up into it. Walking is over a second slower than dashing, but failing the dash and getting knocked off will cost you a lot more than that, almost 4 seconds. Intentionally falling into the pit is even slower than walking and costs a heart as well, but you should be aware that if you do fall, you can dash through all the cannonballs with your iframes. If you're very low on health and have a bomb, you can plant and toss a bomb across this gap, then bonk over it to reach a room with fairies. It can often be undesirable to have beams for the upcoming gauntlet, so it can be worth it to take a quick fall after exiting the fairy room, then bonk back over the gap to continue on. These 5 upcoming rooms called the Gauntlet have several combinations of RNGs. While we will do our best to cover the majority of the scenarios, it's impossible to teach them all. Learning each room will require a healthy amount of practice and repetition of each one individually. For Gauntlet 1, hold angle down left out of the door and arrow the middle Stalfos. At this point, you want to read the RNG of the 2 right enemies and determine the most efficient way to kill them. If they both move up, you can dash right through them, then dash to the left of the room. If either of them move down, you want to walk to the right. It is generally faster to arrow enemies that move down and slash enemies that move up. It is possible to arrow the Stalfos from all the way against the right wall if he moves down, and then right underneath the block. When both enemies on the right have been killed, dash left above the conveyors. Ideally, this dash will kill the red Zazak, but you may have to stop and kill him with a slash. Make your way to the left wall while optionally pumping down, then move down and enter the door cleanly. For Gauntlet 2, there is a more consistent slash strategy. Generally, you want to be as close to the Stalfos as possible before slashing to give yourself the best chance of connecting with the hitbox. Move angle up left out of the door, then move left along the top conveyor under the top Stalfos and turn up to slash it. You will need to react to the movement that he gives you. After the first Stalfos is dead, you will need to read and react to the other two. In general, you want to follow the conveyor around. If the right Stalfos goes higher than the left Stalfos, take care of the right one first, as you want to avoid backtracking across the room. There is a scenario where if the far left Stalfos moves to the middle of the room, you are likely going to have to dodge the attack from the Beamos by swinging out farther left to the left side of the conveyor before slashing and killing the Stalfos. For the pot strategy in Gauntlet 2, hold angle up left from the door and face up before you reach the conveyor. Grab the pot from the bottom right and turn left to throw it at the Stalfos. Note that if the Stalfos moves up, you may need to also move up to compensate and ensure that you hit the enemy. At this point, you want to read the RNG of the two bottom Stalfos. The goal is to kill both with a single dash if possible. This is technically optimal and faster than the slash strategy, but relies on very good RNG. Move left as needed and start a dash down. If your dash down doesn't kill both enemies, it's likely you will kill one and cause the other to jump out of the way. If the Stalfos jumps, you will have a good idea of where it will land, so you can opt to fire an arrow at it or position yourself to kill it with a slash. Align yourself with the door and dash out. For Gauntlet 3, hold angle down right out of the door until Link is all the way on the conveyors, then turn right and slash the first Zazak. Turn down and walk down the left half of the conveyor until you are even with the bottom row of spikes. Then start a dash and turn left. At this point, you need to be ready to react to what happens with the second Zazak. If they both go down, dispatch them with slashes. If the second Zazak moves up in between the spikes, menu to fire rod when you are just past the left side of the first set of spikes, then turn up and slash it. At this point, you will need to move out of the path of the laser and toward the third Zazak. If this dash kills the second Zazak, continue dashing to the left. If the dash left does not kill the third Zazak and he is on the bottom side of the room, you can slash him as you make your way to the door. If he moves up to the top side of the room, menu to fire rod when you clear the last row of spikes. Fire rod him, then grab the magic pot in the bottom left corner as you exit the room. If both Zazaks go to the top side of the room, you will want to move all the way to the left side of the room, then go up and around the loop again. If just the middle Zazak goes up and the bottom one goes down, you should kill the middle Zazak first with a sword slash or fire rod shot if he is further away from you. Then adjust your movement to the last Zazak for the final kill. If you used a fire rod shot, make sure to pick up the small magic pot at the bottom left and make your way out cleanly. Here's a clip of some frame perfect spike dash bullshit. For Gauntlet 4, hold angle down right out of the door to shift slightly to the right, then dash down. If the top Zazak gives you good RNG, you will kill him on the dash down. During the dash down, you will need to react to the bottom Zazak RNG. If he stays in the bottom right corner, dash down close to the door and slash him. You will need to take a step to the left to avoid the Beamos on this RNG before dashing into the door. If the bottom Zazak moves up, stop in the middle of the bottom conveyor, then turn right to slash him. Take another step right, then start a dash and turn down. If the top Zazak is still alive when you get to the bottom side of the room, you will need to move to the right side of the room to slash him. If you notice the top Zazak is too far right as you begin your dash down, you can react to this RNG by canceling your dash at the top conveyor, walking around the right side of the room. For Gauntlet 5, hold angle down left out of the door, and as soon as you see Link shift to the left, fire rod the Stalfos. You can arrow the Stalfos to save magic, but this is more RNG dependent. It is possible for your arrow to miss, but your fire rod will hit every time. Hold angle down right and use the sword slashes, but do not spam them, to take advantage of ice physics and move to the right side of the room. If the Zazak moves up, you can turn right and slash him, then use the momentum from the slash to move yourself closer to the door before dashing out, by buffering angle down left during the slash animation. If the Zazak moves down, follow it down to slash it, and then use your momentum to realign with the door before dashing out. Hold left and dash to the next room. The Landmolas will start to spawn as soon as you enter this room. At the beginning of the fight, you will need to bait the fireball out of your way before you move into the starting position. There are countless methods for doing this, but here are 2 common ones. The first method is to hold left and slash 3 times out of the door and continue to hold your sword out. Move to the right of the top left landmo, hesitate briefly, then walk up and to the left. The other method is to hold your sword charge and walk all the way to the left side of the top left landmo, then up and around. Use whatever timing method makes sense to you. Release your sword spin when the first landmo pops out. At this point, you will need to react quickly to the RNG that it gives you. Generally, if this landmo immediately moves to the top left, it can be best to ignore it and focus down on the other landmos, since following it will put you out of position for the rest. Follow the landmo and hit it with a fire rod shot from above. You want to make your way back to the right side of the room as quickly as possible after the first landmo is killed, so right movement RNGs tend to be much easier to one cycle. After the first landmo is defeated, stand above the right landmo off to the left side of it slightly. Fire rod it twice when it pops out, then stand directly above the middle landmo and fire rod it twice. Move to the top wall on the left side of the room to bait the fireball out of your way. Move in front of the door and start charging your dash on the 8th explosion of the last landmo, then turn up to exit the room. Hold up out of the door and dash up to the next room. If you have less than 2 fire rod shots remaining, you will need to collect the magic pot in the bottom right corner of the room. There is a heart in the top left pot and arrows in the top right. Optimally, you would hold left out of the door and menu to the cane after moving 1 frame, which moves you the required pixels to avoid stair lag, but this can make the movement afterward awkward. It can be easier to cancel stair lag to the right. Out of the menu, move down until you are 1 tile above the top Whizrobes, then place a cane block and activate it immediately. Hold angle down left until you are more than halfway to the left of the visible part of the floor. Move down until there is just over a tile of empty space below Link, then move angle down right to align with the door. Navigating this room without slipping on the edges is something that will come over time throughout many attempts. Turn left out of the door and pump down until you reach the corner of the rail, or you can just hold angle down left. Turn down, then start a dash when you are below the rail and turn right. It is rare, but sometimes you can be knocked out of your dash by an enemy on this bridge. Cancel this dash with an up input when you are aligned with the door, and if there are no enemies nearby, dash up to exit the room. If there is an enemy close by, you absolutely want to walk to the door, since this enemy can often hit you out of your dash. Hold up until you are about half a tile below the bottom set of Whizrobes, then turn left and place down a cane block. Buffer and angle upright input and activate the block when you are aligned with the right side of the door. If you activate the block too early, it will not move high enough on the conveyor to kill the bottom Whizrobes. Continue to hold angle upright until you are on the top half of the conveyors, then hold up and slash the top right Whizrobe. Move left to align with the door, then start a dash and turn up to exit the room. Hold right or angle upright out of the door until Link's shield is aligned with the black line on the right side of the conveyor, then start a dash and turn up. This alignment will give you the best chance to avoid getting knocked out of your dash, but it won't work every time. The coordinates shown on the left side of the description has a 99% success rate. When you get to the top of the bridge, menu to the lamp. Hold right out of the menu, transition to angle down right when you pass the corner of the rail, and then snap into the door. Hold angle down right out of the door until Link is over the edge of the pit. Take a step down and turn right to walk along the top part of the walkway. Transition to angle upright when you get to the center platform and move straight right around the top side of the block. Transition to angle down right when you pass the block and cut the corner, staying as high as possible. Walk right and pick up the skull pot. Move right as you throw the pot and light the torch from the left side of the tile where the pot was. Move left to the center platform and cut the corners with an angle up left input. Turn up when you are slightly to the left of the top walkway and pick up the top pot. Move up as you throw the pot and light the torch, then walk down to the center platform. Cut the corners with angle down left and walk left when you are aligned with the torch. Light the torch when you are far enough left to dash down, and then start a dash and turn down. Optionally, you can torch dash down. You can use the fire bar as a cue to know if you can go for it. If the fire bar has not yet reached the 6 o'clock position, you are good to dash. Dash down along the right side of the skull pot. You can clip slightly into the pot due to pit physics, and then menu to fire rod when you are aligned with the bottom pots. Hold right out of the menu, grab the pot, and take a step to the right as you throw it. Dash turn up as you wait for the magic bar to refill, then fire rod dash and turn right to exit the room, or just dash turn right after fire rodding. Entering Torches 1 with no magic, you will need to perform the lamp backup, which will lose you about 3.5 seconds to the optimal strategy. Following the fire bar around to the right side, grabbing the rightmost pot and making your way to the bottom magic pot. Once you collect the magic, menu to the lamp and light the torch, making sure that you have space in between to save on movement. Make your way to the top torch, then around to the right. Make sure to have clean movement around the edges as you make your way to the left torch and light it by doing a torch dash, then turning down. Make your way out of the room as before. Dash right out of the door and cancel your dash with an up input when you are under the left side of the magic pot. If you're slow to start your dash, you may need to carry this dash further to avoid the laser. Remember, only the front part of the laser has a hitbox. Pick up the pot from the left side, throw the pot without moving, and delay briefly to collect the magic refill. Hold angle down left to slide along the stairs, then snap to the left and enter them cleanly. The pot in the top left contains a heart if you're low on health, but be aware this can change the timing of the laser cycle. If you enter these stairs on the same frame as the jingle, you can potentially displace all the sprites in the tower, requiring you to mirror to the beginning of the dungeon to reset the sprites. Sometimes it can be a good idea to delay your entry to avoid this if you sense it will be close. Buffer an angle down right input out of the stairs to face down right away. Hold this input to slide along the rail and fire rod the right torch when you are centered with the right edge of the rail. Take a small step up, then turn left and dash to the left side of the room, or just walk left and pump down at the cost of a few frames. Cancel your dash with a down input when you are just past the left rail and fire rod the bottom left torch. Move right and cut the corner of the pit with an angle upright input. Walk up along the right edge of the pit until Link's ear is above it, then briefly move angle upright and turn right. Fire rod both torches from this position and hold angle upright to align with the door. The window for this can be extremely tight. If your movement was clean enough and this is done correctly, your shots will go under both sparks. You can also opt to shoot underneath the right spark and above the left spark for some more lenient timing. A third option is lighting the right side torches first with a quick up and down shot, but the window for this is tight as well. If you are not collecting the helmet key, hold angle up left out of the door and menu to bombs when you are aligned with the key door. Optionally, you can navigate around the spike pit to save a heart. If you are collecting the key, be aware that this is only optimal if you skip the magic refill 2 rooms ahead. Move up about a tile out of the doorway, then transition to angle upright when you are at the edge of the spike pit. Move angle upright until the top of Link's hat is just above the spikes, then turn left and slash both of the mini Helmasaurs. If the mini Helmas give you a slower RNG, they are going to bounce higher and you may need to move up around the left side of the Medusa to collect the key. Menu to bombs at the left wall and then snap into the door. Hold angle down left out of the door and plant the bomb immediately. Continue to move left as you grab the bomb and walk left until you reach the blue texture on the floor. Tap down and throw the bomb, then delay slightly to avoid the spike. Sword slash is shown here for timing, and then move down onto the conveyor. Hold down until you are on the 3rd conveyor, then move left into the spike. Depending on where the spike was when you hit it, you may need to adjust your movement left or right before starting your dash out of the room. Keep in mind that the bottom conveyor is still moving left. At a cost of about 20 frames, you can move up above the spike and walk into the door without taking damage. If you collected the Helmasaur key, continue to hold angle down left out of the door. Turn left when you get to the orange pegs, then turn down once you clear them and dash to the bottom side of the room. You can also choose to hold this angle until you clear the crystal switch, then dash down. Cancel your dash at the wall with an angle down right input and snap into the door when it unlocks. To collect the chest key, hold angle down left out of the door and pick up the pot slightly to the left. Walk down onto the pot tile and throw the pot. Menu to hookshot and hook down to the bottom. Hold right to slide around the chest and open it from the left side. Hold angle down right until you get to the orange pegs, then move right and lift up the pot. Take a small step right to collect the magic refill as you throw the pot, and then step down and move angle down left to align with the door. If you opted for the torch key, hold angle down left out of the door and grab the skull pot, which has a heart underneath. Collect this heart as you walk right and throw the pot. Once you are aligned with the orange pegs, either dash or walk down. Walk left once you are below the crystal switch and grab the skull pot. Move angle down left to collect the magic refill and move toward the door. This strategy allows us to save the menu to hookshot for the Moldorm 2 fight, which can be quite useful. Hold down out of the door and dash down. If you're going to hover, you will want to read the RNG as you hop down to decide which side will be safer. Otherwise, move straight down until you reach the bottom of the platform, then start a dash and turn right to hopefully hit Moldorm. Cancel your dash after the hit, then face away from Moldorm to set up for a sword spin to avoid poking him with your sword. If you still have not menued to hookshot, menu right when your dash or slash connects with Moldorm. If timed correctly, you can keep holding B out of the menu to instantly re-slash and start charging your sword. Release your spin when he exposes his tail to kill him. If Moldorm is moving directly toward you, you can elect to use the hookshot to gain iframes and he will pass through you, exposing his tail. If your sword is fully charged, you can release B anytime during the hook animation to ensure the spin happens on the first possible frame. The spin will prioritize the tail over the head, resulting in a kill the majority of the time. Stand at the left edge of the pit where the chest spawns and hookshot as soon as Moldorm's head disappears underneath the explosions. Hold angle down left to align with the stairs and then go up them. Move angle down left out of the stairs until you are below the rail, then turn left and move toward the block. Push the block and hookshot through it, then hold angle down left to slide along the side of the next block. Continue to hold angle down left until you clear the bottom side of the block and then start a dash left to dash through the door. Be sure to continue holding angle down left as you charge your dash, then let go of the diagonal input before the dash starts to ensure a clean release. Any errant inputs here will result in a bonk. If you're staying on the fire rod, push the blocks out of your way until the last one and begin holding angle down left when it starts moving. Slash your sword while the block is moving and continue holding angle down left out of the slash. Start a dash when you are below the block to successfully door dash. For the optimal strategy, hold angle up left out of the door, then turn and move up when you clear the left side of the ice. Continue to hold up until you are inside the top bumper, then start a dash to exit the room. For the normal strategy, simply hold left until you clear the moving spike. Then move straight up until you reach the point where the up and down conveyors meet. Walk to the middle conveyor and slash once to time the dash, or you can just hesitate briefly. Dash up out of the room. Tap up to stay aligned with the grid, then start a dash and turn left. Cancel your dash when you are aligned with the door and move up to enter the boss room. Aganihm 2, or also known as the Geometry Wizard. This fight will start when both text boxes are cleared. Once the fight begins, Aganihm will split into 3. 2 clones and the real Aganihm. You will need to deflect 6 energy balls back at the real Aganihm to defeat him. The first cycle will always be an energy ball from the real Aganihm, and then the next 2 cycles will be a 50-50 chance of an energy ball or blue ball. The 4th cycle will always be an energy ball. This completes the 4th cycle pattern and he will start over again with an energy ball on cycle 5. The clones will always shoot out energy balls. The clones themselves cannot damage Link, only if you get hit by their energy ball. Taking damage from this fight will lose you 1 heart if you get hit by the real Aganihm, an energy ball, or a blue ball. You will also take a half a heart of damage if you are hit by a blue ball that has split. If you end up taking too long in this fight, the wizards will desync themselves from the real Aganihm. The desync is a result of the 3 Aganims warping different distances between the cycles. As the fight goes on, the real Aganihm may be warping while you are reflecting energy shots back from the clones and you will be unable to use them. Having a plan for this fight will make a huge difference along with the decisive reactions to the RNG. If you get favorable patterns, try to go for triples, but take a measured approach and aim to get at least 1 or 2 guaranteed hits in. Sometimes it just isn't possible to go for all 3. Depending on where the clones line up in relation to the real Aganihm, you will need to quickly decide if a sword spin or a slash approach will be better, or in some cases a combination of both. When they are all lined up or the clones are behind the real Aganihm, it is typically better to use a spin. When they are in awkward positions, try to position Link close to the real Aganihm and use sword slashes. This method will give Link better mobility, allowing you to adjust between shots. If you are going for slashes, you typically want to align cardinally with one of the clones. While waiting to deflect the energy balls, you typically want to place Link close to where the real Aganihm is. Once the shots are fired, you can back off to reposition Link, which will bait the energy balls to where you want them to be. Link is left-handed, meaning the sword swings from right to left. This can be useful to keep in mind when trying to deflect the energy balls back to Aganihm, as it will affect whether you need to swing earlier or later. In some cases, if Aganihm is hit with an energy ball which shoves him into a wall, his shot will be despawned. If multiple energy balls hit Aganihm at the same time, they will only count as one hit. If they line up but a clone is against a wall, you can release a sword spin inside of him and Link will not take damage. This can be much more effective than trying to position to the side of the real Aganihm. If they line up in a tough pattern, typically a triangle, you can choose to intentionally take damage and use Link's iframes to walk through an energy ball to position on the other side of it and deflect it back at him. When the two clones are on the opposite side of the real Aganihm and in a triangle formation, you will want to bait the clones and then move out to where the energy shots meet and spin them. If you need to stand under the real Aganihm on the second or third cycle, try to be offset to the left or right side by about 15 degrees. This is because the blue ball particle will go straight down when it splits. You can go for different situational setups based on what cycle you are on and how much health Aganihm has remaining. The real Aganihm will always use an energy ball on the 4th and 5th cycles, so you will not need to worry about dodging a potential blue ball. You can choose to align differently if you know you only need 1 or 2 more hits to end the fight. This fight requires a lot of repetition in order to recognize patterns and react to them appropriately. It requires just as much effort, if not more, than the Landmola 1 fight. Many runners tend to put off practicing this fight, but the difference between a 5-cycle average and a 3-cycle average is pretty massive at advanced levels. Its importance cannot be overstated. We recommend watching Blumpbunny's Aganihm 2 tutorial for a more detailed look at this fight.